This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, your world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by Paradise in Portugal, your South Portugal birding retreat, and by Portugal Tourism. Welcome to this week's birding adventure. We've just flown into Lisbon. It's a short 6-hour flight from New York City, from the US, very easy to get to, and we're heading across the Sado estuary in South Portugal to meet with our local guide, Frank McClintock from Paradise in Portugal. On this week's episode, we're in search of the great bustard, our golden bird for this week. Let's go birding.
Now is the time of your life. Oh, now is the time. It's a sweet ride to the end of the line. Now is the time. It's the right time to come alive. Now is the time of your life. Oh, now is the time of your life.
Smoking ponies, did you see that bird? And this is the perfect habitat for this bird. Beautiful plumes, look at the plumes on the neck and the head. Yeah, that's what I call birding. Awesome, that's our golden bird. Frank, I presume.
Hi,
Hi, great to meet you.
welcome to Paradise.
Thank you, it is paradise. Look at this place, absolutely beautiful. Frank's place, just north of the Algarve, nestles in the wild hills of the Lower Alentejo, overlooking a vast freshwater lake. This birder-friendly location is the perfect base from which to explore the wonderful birds and culture of South Portugal. This is rural tourism at its absolute best.
Vamos procurar as habitats and let's go birding.
This morning, Frank's taken us out to a site about 100 kilometers north of Paradise in Portugal, a place called Lagoa Santandre. The excellent thing about this location are the different grades of habitat, from water for shorebirds to the reeds for the warblers, and then to this dry marsh habitat over here, where we're seeing yellow wagtails, crested lark, and stone chats. And then we've got this tamarisk woodland, or this tamarisk brush behind me, which is really good for corn buntings to sit on and sing their songs in the mornings and in the late afternoons. This behind me is the habitat of the Savvy's warbler, a warbler which is very localized across Portugal and Europe and is only found in these small isolated patches. Now the Savvy's warbler forms part of a group of birds that are notoriously called the LBJs, or the little brown jobs. Technically very, very difficult to ID, and one of the best ways to get onto one of these birds is by their call. And the Savvy's warbler has got this very, very unique call. It sounds almost like a cricket, or a mole cricket in particular. A very sort of vibrating call, and we're going to listen and see if we can find any over here. There's one calling right there. You hear that? Kind of a crickety call. I'm going to go down in front of these reeds here and see if we can fish him out. Here comes one in front of me over here. Just in front. Yes, it is a Savvy's. You can hear it calling. It's calling in front of me. Probably only 10 feet away from me here in this dry reed.
Definitely one.
We've got European reed warblers coming in here as well. We've got a great reed warbler here as well. The big brownish bird. Look at them all coming in, trying to investigate. They look like little trapeze artists, hanging, twisting on the reeds. So here we've got the Savvy's warbler and also a European reed warbler right here in these reed beds. They're quite similar looking. They're both very pale. The Savvy's has got more richer buff sort of flanks on it, and obviously that call is totally diagnostic. But right here, both species of reed warblers. We've also had zitting cisticulars land in, and it's amazing what fishing can do for warblers. Obviously, the one thing with fishing at this time of the year in May, you don't want to overdo it because this is when the birds are breeding, and you just want to lure them out, get a quick look at them, and then move off. Excellent, Savvy's reed warbler. It's a spectacular day here in the Mediterranean, and we're opening a fine bottle of wine from the Myrtilo region in South Portugal. But how often have we taken for granted this little stopper, the wine cork? You see, cork is ideally suited to making a great bottle of wine because it's impervious to liquid, but yet lets in a small amount of air, which is needed for the good maturation of a great wine. Now, over 1/3 of the world's cork forests are found right here in Portugal. And these cork forests make for some incredible birding habitat. In fact, singularly, the most important habitat for birds in Portugal, but yet also its most imperiled. Walk through any mature cork woodland like this one right here, and you're sure to come across a huge assortment of great birds, like this Eurasian or European nuthatch above me in this oak tree. Springtime in the Montardouche, or cork woodland, is the busiest time of the year for many birds. As well as nuthatches feeding their young, we also pause to watch a magnificent redstart couple raising their hungry brood. Those birds that hadn't actively started nesting were calling vociferously from this woodland. There were chaffinch, goldfinch, and winter wrens all calling actively, singing to attract partners. From the Montardouche woodland, we drove the nearby countryside to try and spot as many signature South Portugal species as possible. Black-eared wheat here?
Yeah, and look,
Just on the
plat.
Tawny pipits can also be found alongside the black-eared wheatears, sitting on the fence posts prominently. Driving the South Portugal countryside makes for really easy birding. The roads are extremely quiet, and the birds are always in abundance. Two of the prettiest European birds that are easily found at this time of the year in South Portugal are the European bee-eaters and the splendid European rollers. We've got a raptor flying over the grassland here. It's a harrier. We've got Montague's harrier. There's a nice diversity of raptors in this area. Several species of harriers can be seen quartering over the fields and marshland, including Montagues and European marsh harriers, along with the snake-hunting short-toed eagles and the cutest diurnal little owls. There's a whole big kettle of something up ahead here. Frank, do you think, could those be vultures or?
Yeah, they're griffins.
When birding the South Portugal countryside, be sure to stop at any body of water to check for shorebirds like little ringed plovers and also for water birds like great crested grebes. Great white storks are everywhere in springtime, nesting on top of buildings, telephone poles and on top of trees. A highlight of our drive was a confiding adult great spotted cuckoo, which can be a really tough bird to find anywhere in Europe. Not far from paradise in Portugal is a great birding spot called Pulo de Lobo. This is it behind me here, and it means the wolf's leap. Legend has it that hunters were hunting a wolf here in the Middle Ages, and they lost it at this little gap in the river where this wolf jumped over the river onto the other side and so escaped the hunters. This ravine is actually a ravine within a ravine, because as the river hit the softer rock, it carved out this little narrow channel between the greater sides of the walls of the ravine. And this is where this wolf escaped his captors. We're going to now head down into this ravine and do some birding.
This Birding from the Edge segment is brought to you by Nikon, manufacturers of the Edge line of optics.
I'm sitting here at Pulo de Lobo, the exact spot where legend has it that a wolf jumped over this raging river to escape some hunters. Now, if I were a hunter hunting a wolf, I can tell you something. There is no ways that I would follow that wolf to the other side. But this is a wonderful birding spot with blue rock thrush, rock buntings and crag martins in abundance. This is Birding from the Edge. Seeing the blue rock thrush at Pulo de Lobo was really special. I've seen some wonderful rock thrushes in Africa and Madagascar, but this has to be the most beautiful of them all. Well, wasn't that marvelous? We've had cracker views of blue rock thrush here at this beautiful, beautiful location. Tell us why this is so special, Frank.
Well, this stuck in the middle of the plains, you've got a completely different habitat. You've got blue rock thrush like we saw, you've got rock bunting, we've got crag martin here, we've got barn swallow, red rump swallow, and this is the original location. Before man came along, this is the original type of location where swallows would have made their nests. And I feel very special about this place because this is the exact spot where I first got into birding. Somebody gave me a pair of bins and said, look at that little brown job. And I said, no, it's not brown, I've got a yellow one. And he said, no, that's the little brown job. And I said, no! it was a serit, you know, beautiful. A really nice little bird, but to the eye, it's brown. Bins, bright yellow, and that's the beauty of birding.
Well, what a wonderful location. We're off tomorrow to look for our golden bird, the great bustard. Well, there's nothing like a birding and viticulture expedition. Here at Paradise in Portugal, we take our birding very, very seriously. Tell me about the wine.
Well, the wine, it has to have 3 prerequisites to get onto our wine list. A, it has to be Portuguese.
Right.
B, it has to have a cork in it, and the first 2 normally go together. But the third one is a bit different because every single bottle has to have a picture of a bird on it. So as you can see, we've got quite a few birds.
That's great.
And it's actually quite a good way of choosing your wine list because there's so many good Portuguese wines, it's difficult to choose between them. So you choose ones that have a bird on it, and you've got the good, the bad, and the plain revolting.
Well, tell me what's the good here and what's the plain revolting. And let's start with the plain revolting.
I can't do the plain revolting, I'll get sued.
All right. What's a good one?
Good ones. Guardarillos is very nice.
Okay, with a kingfisher on it, right?
Yeah, Quinta de la Rosa is very nice. Graus is very nice. Grush is very nice. Quinta de Falcão is very good, and also Herdade de Comporta is very good. Herdade de Comporta is very close to where we went this morning, yeah, at the Lagoa Santandre. That's all grown around there. Guardarillos is Ribetechano, yeah, it comes from near where we crossed over the Sado.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Quinta de la Rosa comes from the Douro, and the Graus,
which is what we're drinking right here.
which is what we're drinking right now, comes from Great Bustard country.
All right, for tomorrow, looking for great bustards. Here's to a great day tomorrow with a great glass of Graus. Cheers. Well, we had to get up at some ungodly hour this morning. We're in the little village of Castro Verde, right on the edge of the Great Plains here, looking for these great bustards. This is one of the best places to get coffee here, and Frank's taken us to sample some of the local coffee. I am so amped to go and see the world's heaviest flying animal, the great bustard. The countryside of Portugal is steeped in ancient Roman history. I'm standing at a site called Mirobrija, which is an ancient Roman temple. Some of these sites date back to the time of Christ. Perched on top of this hill, this temple looks out on the Great Plains on which the great bustard likes to feed and live out its lifestyle. We're going to head out from this area steeped in cultural history to go look for these wonderful birds. Let's go birding.
James, we've come up to the top of this volcanic outcrop here. This is the Senhora d'Arcelli. You get a good view of the plains from up here, and you can see it's a very sparsely occupied area. It's quite deprived, flat plains dotted with cork oaks and home oaks, with the odd village and the odd mont here and there. And from here you can get a good view of A, what the countryside is about, and B, sometimes you can see where the great bustards are. The great bustards, they tend to like being on the low ridge, and although this looks very flat, it's actually gently undulating, and the great bustards tend to be on the top of a ridge where they can see danger from everywhere, from all sides, and if you come up to them, they'll walk very stately over the side. I think that's one over there. Yeah, just over there. Yeah, do you see him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're very, very difficult to approach. You know, you can't be in Europe, which is fairly populated, and have 16 kilos of meat on you, you know, and not be persecuted. So nowadays the LPN and Speyer are doing a huge amount of work to protect these, and actually this is one of the few countries where great bustards are actually increasing in numbers, and it's due to their work, their hard work. Oh look, the common swift there. Oh, beautiful.
So
Wow.
Frank, let's go down there and see if we can get a closer look at those birds.
Okay, we'll have to be very careful because this is near the breeding time, and we don't want to approach them too close, but we'll see what we can do.
Sounds great.
Okay, let's go.
Frank, just slow down. I think we've got a couple of birds here on the right.
Yeah.
Look out, is that them?
Yep, that's them.
Oh, they just took off. Oh man, wow, they are really flighty, huh?
Okay, we're going to freewheel from here, James, okay? Because this is the type of habitat they really like. Wide open spaces where they can see danger from any quarter. They like these flowers, different habitat. I mean, loads of stuff for them to eat. Look, there's a group of them over there. Fantastic. That's really good. That's about 400 meters. That's really about as close as you can get before they'll spook. You don't want to get much closer than that because they're a very threatened species, and we try not to push them.
So we've had a couple of great bustards fly off. They're very, very flighty. They should not be disturbed. But we've got a single bird feeding on the other side of the plateau. There's a little ridge over here, and there's a nice line of trees, which we are going to try and use as cover to get good footage of these birds. It's going to be very, very tricky. We're going to have to probably leopard crawl, I think, through this grass here up until that tree to get some good views. But let's give it a go. Excellent.
Some real ground.
So we're keeping well beneath the ridge here, climbing up to it to see if we can peer over and get a look at this great bustard. Now they've got incredibly good eyesight, incredibly good, probably at least 3 to 4 times better than our own eyesight. And this guy is just minding his own business over the ridge line here. And this is going to be really tough. I think we're going to have to leopard crawl about 100 meters here until we get to a position on that ridge where we can hopefully get a wonderful look at this spectacular bird. Smoking ponies, how much further do we have to go?
No, we've got to keep down. We've got to keep below this ridge because we mustn't let him see us. He must not spook.
This has got to be one of the hardest I think I've ever worked for a bird.
Same here, mate.
You better have some cold beers in the truck when we get back.
Yeah, got it.
Well, we managed to sneak up and get killer views of a great bustard doing a stately walk across the beautiful landscape here in South Portugal. Our golden bird, the great bustard. This bird is listed as vulnerable in CITES. There are only about 30,000 great bustards left on planet Earth, and most of them are found in this area of the Mediterranean. Portugal, Spain, there's a few populations in Mongolia and further east, but this really is one of the best places in the world to view this majestic bird. It's early May and these birds are nesting right now. If you come to South Portugal in the last week of March, first 2 weeks of April, you're going to witness these males doing their foam bath display. And right now, here in early May, this vulnerable, incredibly threatened bird is on eggs right now, possibly some of them on chicks. What a fascinating animal, and something that we really need to protect for future generations.
Birding in Portugal is not just all about birding though. You've got amazing beaches, undiscovered beaches. You've got rocky cliffs, you've got fantastic golf courses, you've got good wine, you've got history. I mean, the area that we've been birding over today on the Planície is actually the site of a very famous battle, the Milagre de Ourique, where basically Portugal was made. On the 25th of July 1139, the Portuguese king, or proto-king, Dom Afonso Henriques, beat the Moors for the last time and basically founded Portugal then on the 25th of July 1139. And we've been birding over that battlefield, seeing the bustards. And there, today's Milagre de Ourique, the miracle of Ourique, to have these great bustards here and to be able to see them in such good light and in such good numbers, thanks to the LPN and Speyer, fantastic. The miracle of Ourique, the great bustards.